When I first started my plumbing business, yeah, and got qualified, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done to get started. Before this point, yeah, I'm just following a lot of plumbers, watching them, picking up on the things what they're doing, and just trying to remember them, really, because plumbing is and is not hard to learn depending on you. Like, I'm a person that can easily sit back and watch people do something just to learn. And there's others who are very eager to get their hands on. I wait my turn. And I was luckily blessed to be, with good plumbers. That's one thing I will say. And it kind of separated me from everybody else when it came to doing plumbing. Because I had one mentor, one person who taught me plumbing. Another person who taught me plumbing when I was in college. But the college plumbing was just the basics. The plumbers who I worked with were gas engineers. They were Corgley engineers, if you remember. And I'm going back nearly 25 years for you to understand what Corgley is. Corgley was a part of like gas safety, which what you know as gas safety today. Hope I'm explaining that right. So I used to work with a commercial Corgley engineer, right? So he knew plumbing like the back of his hand. Jack Neville is his name. Top geezer. He always encouraged me to ask questions because just like you, we don't know. We don't know anything. We're trying to learn it off of people. So it's always made me think that you always need to be in an environment where you can ask questions. I feel that that's overlooked now. If you're deemed to be asking too much questions, people think that you're stupid. Do you get it? But who in their right mind really goes and picks up their MVQ level 2 book, their MVQ level 3 book, and just reads through it? No one. No one. People read through these things when they have exams, and they read through these things when they want to study them. I know that because I've taught plumbing myself. But like I said, as I got started on being a plumber, yeah, there was a lot of things which I just had to learn as I go. Had to learn what tools I needed. Had to learn how to do a job. When I'm looking at something, what is it that I see is the problem? Problem solving became a big thing. And when I wanted to do my own thing, my own business, there was nobody to help. So I struggled because I didn't know anything about registering a company. I didn't even know what Companies House was at the beginning. So I had to learn. Okay, I've got a company. I need to register it with Companies House. I need to make sure nobody's got that name. And I do want to point something out for you lot, yeah? Your name is very important to how it's spelt as any company because it will be listed in a certain way. We all know a company called something plumbing, right? And it's got a P in the beginning of it. I don't need to say it because there's no need, right? The way my company name is spelt, it will always be higher than it on Google because of how it's spelt. Did I know this at the beginning? No, I didn't know this. I just like the name Mr. London Plumber. And it's very unique because everything is in the name. Mr. is me, London is where I am, and plumbing is what I do. I just kept it very simple and basic. And I felt that helped me big time. I remember when someone said to me, they had me on an interview and they said, it's quite bold that you call yourself Mr. London Plumber. Why? Because no one else has took the name. Why? Because I'm a plumber from London. I really didn't understand that, because it doesn't mean that I run all of the plumbing in London. That's ridiculous. You know, if I did, I wouldn't have time to do anything. But building this company, registering it, understanding what to do was all foreign to me. I didn't have a Scooby. And how did I learn? I learned the hard way. I learned the way within spending my money, writing myself some type of business plan and not always sticking to it. That's the truth. I wrote how I wanted my company to operate, what type of jobs we're going to do. And I've done this all when I'm at work, because I just had enough of being at a 9 to 5. You know, I would sit in a road which is called, the road is called, I'm trying to remember the name now. The road is called Bishop's Avenue. So I would work around the corner from Bishop's Avenue, yeah? And on my lunch break, I'd go past really big houses and say to myself, why am I working in any of these high-end properties to be able to bring me a lot of money? I couldn't really answer the question. And when I did find out the answer, is because I had nothing to offer them as a service. They don't know that I'm a plumber. You know, how are they going to know about me? Knowing about me, I went about it in the way of discovering myself, first of all, and discovering that I'm a tradesperson with a business. I'm not a tradesperson that's in the business. I had to stop saying it to myself like that. And the moment I started to stop saying it to myself like I'm a tradesperson or I'm a business within a trade, it was different. Because I now started to operate like a business instead of operating like someone that's just got tools. Because that's what most of the people are, is someone who's just got tools. Don't align themselves up like that. And I know that. But my struggle was finding customers, finding clients. And I'm going to tell you a story today, which is about my first ever job. So my first ever job as a plumber, or as Mr. London Plumber, my own business, was through a website which I made through, I think it was like Squarespace or something like that. I thought I was so futuristic, me being able to be tech savvy, jump on the internet, write down a little description about myself, the services, what I provide, and just putting it out there. You know, I had the .com and I thought, I've made it now. I'm in there, I'm in the big league. But I had so much work to do, but I had to focus on something. So my focus was on trying to do the jobs, you know. The first job, it was a toilet which kept on running, and it was in South London. So I'm from the east side of London. To me to go over to southeast, it was a bit far. But at the beginning of everybody's journey, you're willing to do every single job because you just want to get your name out there. And there was no difference with me. I was willing to do any job because previously, before that, I was doing subcontracting. I was doing pricing. I was doing, sorry, when I say I was doing pricing, I mean I was doing price work on site. So I went from maintenance to price work to doing jobs for people, then realizing, do you know what? I can do this business thing, you know. I've just got to commit myself. And in my younger years of my early 20s, I had nothing to hold me back. I ain't got any kids. I haven't got a certain level of responsibility down to a property or anything. So I thought, go straight ahead with it, because your 9 to 5 is not building you anything. It's not building me anything. At this point, my personal experience, my 9 to 5 bought me money. It bought me a couple of nice things. I was able to go on holiday, do them types of things. But it wasn't bringing me anything which was my own. And when I say my own, I mean, I could go to a workplace, getting along there, working, you get the sack. then you're out of the workplace. What have you got? Nothing. You got to look for another job. But if I had this company and I was still working, I could still build myself, because I'm a person who, I believe in building myself. You got to have a strong root, which is my qualifications, which is my... I'd already been like 10 years deep in doing plumbing at this point. So that's my core foundation, is having a certain amount of experience, price work, domestic work, commercial work, maintenance work. So I understood what I needed to do. I've now just got to transfer all my skills into services which I can provide for the customers and the clients. And I've never really had so much of a problem talking to customers and clients, because I have not always been the most confident person. Even though I'm on YouTube now doing a live talking about it, I haven't. I wouldn't say I'm shy. I just say I'm a person that keeps myself to myself. You know, some people say I'm an extrovert or I'm an introvert. I'm not any of them. I'm just a person that likes to keep myself to myself. And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, then you kind of don't know. But this is another thing which I'd learned as well, because I realised that even having that if you know, you know attitude was the wrong thing for a business, because the business is for everybody. You know, the business is not just for people that live in South London. Anyone who wants to get my services willing to pay, yes, I'm willing to turn up and do work. And a lot of the time, I would turn up with the guarantee that someone was going to pay me. No contract, just an agreement over the phone. Do you agree to this? I agree to that. Yeah, cool. I'll start commencing the work. It will be this much. And a lot of the time, it pains me to say this, yeah, but I would pay out of my own pocket and then hope for people to do the right thing and pay me back, which at some point started to not work out for me, because there's a story of like chasing people for money, and it happens to a lot of us tradespeople. It's the downfall of a lot of businesses. You let something slide, people don't pay you. And I experienced it, you know, I experienced it firsthand. At times, it really upset me that someone would not pay me what I've asked them to pay me for. And it's not like I wasn't doing crazy jobs like 3 grand, 6 grand, 9 grand, 20 grand. I wasn't doing any of those types of jobs. They were hundreds of pounds. So I thought, bloody hell, man, this is what business is like. I'm not sure if I want to do this. So at times I didn't put all my eggs into that basket, just because I didn't see it being a stable way, because there was no structure to my own business. And that's something that I can admit now, because I wasn't willing to admit it then. I was willing to admit that I know what I'm doing. I can do this, I can do that. And really, it was a point of like, you need structure in every business. You need a correct way how people can pay you. You need a correct way how people can visibly see your business. And I thought my answer was just having that website, which it wasn't, because it never brought enough traffic. But I didn't know how to send traffic there. I didn't have the platform what I have now. I didn't have the 10,000 followers on Instagram. I didn't have the 9,000 followers on TikTok. TikTok wasn't about then. I didn't have the following what I have now on my YouTube page. I wasn't being as transparent as I be today. Because at some point, I knew that a lot of people fake it till they make it. So I was just trying to follow what other people was doing and things which I've heard. Whether they were working or not really sure. Just going for it and trying to wing it. But after a year, after 2 years, after 3 years, I was getting jobs. Let's say like after the first year, yeah, of having Mr. London Plumber, I think on the side with my day job, it's only making about 3 grand. I was happy with that because a lot of the things what I do personally, yeah, I don't do it to turn over a big profit. I do it just to see if it can work. And then once it starts to work, I plan to scale it. And I think that's me not going head deep into everything. Because I've seen a lot of people do that. I've seen a lot of people put a lot into something. And yeah, they might have a contract, they might have this, they might have that. But on the flip side, when they go home, they ain't got the things what they want. And I wasn't allowing myself to be a part of that gang at any point. I weren't going to be the gang that don't have a car. I weren't going to be the gang that I just drive around in my van. I'm not a geezer. I come from East London, but it doesn't mean that I want to be a grafter or a geezer. I just want to be someone who has a trade, has a business, and is able to cut through. And that was always my ethos when it came to my own business. You know, there are a lot of people who feel like when I start or when they start their own business, they want to have X amount of vans and they want to do this and they want to do that. Me, I just wanted to just cut through, man. And cut through on my own pace, learn things. So I always started to document my business. My first job, I remember taking a picture of when I was at it. That time when this lady paid me the first amount of money. And I couldn't believe it. I think I even called my mum. I took a picture of outside that road in South London on my phone. And I had it on there for years. Just because I wanted to say to myself, this is where I first started. Because all the other stuff, what I'd done previously, yeah, it's all for other people. You know, I used to work in Westbourne Park, yeah. I used to work for a company who do subcontracting, and it's only when they sat me down and they said, you know, you're one of the best workers here. You make the most money here, you know. It just made me think, no, you make the most money out of me here. And I've always been the person that thinks like that, but it's not all the time I need to be vocal and say it to people. Because I know now, within business, that you don't tell everybody everything, right? And when you're young, you just want to do this, which is okay. My lesson here is to learn how to keep your decorum, to learn how to keep your cool. There's going to be times when people ask you to do things. Like I've been asked to do loads of jobs as favours leading up to new jobs. Or like, if you do me this favour, mate, I've got about 6 other jobs I can send you. Just send me the jobs, man. We're not doing any favours. That's the school where I come from. I come from straight business. And I get that that's not the game. Because doing favours for people is how people keep people in what this is called, which is your pocket. I'm not a pocket man. I don't watch other people's pocket. Like I first said at the beginning, I wasn't out to make money for my pocket. I was out to make something to see if it works. Through what I see from other people. The other plumbers who I was with and all that, they would tell me, yeah, we got this day job, but we're going there and knocking this other job off before we go home. Do you want to come? I'll give you a little bit of money as well. Of course, I'm up for that. I don't mind going home an hour late. Give me an extra little oneers or something. It was cool. It was what I needed. And that led me on to like pushing for myself. And when I first started, like I said, I got a few plumbing mates. So I kind of brought them in around me. I didn't treat them like I was a boss over them. Because I knew without them, I can't do what I need to do. So I treated people very fairly. I even told people, my friends and some people around me, jump in on this thing with me. You see this job, what we're doing here, what I'm giving you some money for. Let's reinvest some of it. But I get that people got their own thing going on. If someone goes to work for, let's say they went to work, I don't know, we done jobs. So there was a little like a grand on the table, and I told someone, run back £200 and then we can start putting our own thing together. I don't know about that, because I've got to do this and that. And I get it if people are not in that place in their life, because I haven't always been in the place in my life to be able to reinvest or do stuff for my own business. I haven't. This is the truth. When I first got started, I never had a van. I've never had a van ever. I had a van when I was subcontracting and stuff like that. But I've used my own personal vehicle to do a lot of jobs. Because when you don't have, you got to make what you got work. And 9 times out of 10, I'll be honest, it's worked for me. Because I've learned how to structure myself and align myself and say, you know what, if I need to get these materials, I'm going to go and get those things first, and I'm going to go to that job, and then I'm going to go boom, 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 boom. But when I was subcontracting, that's when I actually really learned how to whip it good. And I was whipping it all over Westbourne Park, Holland Park, Shepherd's Bush, where else was I? Notting Hill a lot. All of them areas murdered the plumbing. I mean, I was in and out of everybody's ass. I mean, I done good numbers when I was at that place at Westbourne Park. But it taught me that I knew how to manage my own time. And that was such an important business move, is understanding managing your own time. You think that you're quick at doing something, but having a business is about how quick you can do something. Today it's about how quick you can reply to your next customer. I've said this before in videos before. Today is about how quick you can reply to your next customer. People want instantness. If you are not that tech savvy, line yourself up your AI response. I have that even on my own business WhatsApp. I have an AI response which allows people to message me through WhatsApp, because my phone number is online for people to contact me for inquiries. But do I have my other phone with me all the time? No, I don't. Can they send pictures? Yes, they can. It's an automated system which is set up. Other than that, I would have to try and be the quickest person on the texts. So, learning how to deal with customers, multiple customers at one time from doing subcontracting, that really gave me a niche and a skill which allowed my business to grow. Because the minimum amount of jobs that you want to be doing if you're self-employed, which I've done a video on, and it's about living in Islington actually, is 15 jobs you need to be doing a week. And what I know now is that the structure of the business matters way more than just being busy as a plumber. Because a lot of plumbers will tell you that they're busy. You're not really making dough. You're not. Because most are struggling to even pay themselves over $2,500 a month. And a decent base business, a decent base day job, you can get, I can get $3,200, $3,500 a month. Now, even if I'm getting £1,000 a month off my own plumbing business, I'm now got $3,400 a month. Compared to the self-employed plumber who's running around in his own personal van, spending out diesel, spending out materials, and still only ending up with $2,500 a month. And most of them will tell you, yo, I make £600 a day. You made £600 a day once. I was making £600 a day when I was doing subcontracting. A day. So if I'd done that 3 times, 4 times within a week, just add it up. I had good times in Westbourne Park and around that Notting Hill area. And the rate of plumbing is higher in those areas as well. So it made me think about something when I was structuring the business. I need to be in wealthy areas, affluent areas in London. Everybody doesn't have that GDP problem. Do you get it? Some of you that might live within a catchment area or 15 miles from your house where there are affluent areas. I do. And I'm thankful for that. Therefore, it makes it easier for me to get to and from those areas. And I only have to deal with the competition what's in those areas. So, another thing what the subcontracting taught me was building my contacts. That is so powerful. You know, I had a list of customers, people who I have done jobs for, and that could write reviews for me. So having that list of customers was something very powerful, which I could now use for my own personal business, because all of these customers had seen me. Don't get me wrong, they'd seen the company who they dealt with, but they knew me for the person who had fixed it. Because when I go to customers' houses, like I told you, I'm not an introvert person. I'm quite a person who, hi, how you doing? How's it going? Nice to meet you, blah, 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 blah. My name's But do you get it? That's what I'm like. I nearly told you my name there, innit? So that always opened doors for people to be able to say, oh, could we take your number? Or could you you know, come back and do another job at some point, but maybe through yourself. Let's say like for 5 people that would say that to me, 2 of them I would say yes to, 3 of them I'd say, oh, we got to go through the company. Oh, okay, because I thought I could just pay you. The 2 which I would say yes to, those would go into my books. And if I'm doing a minimum of 5 jobs back then a day, you start adding it up. You've got 10 people on your own books in 1 week. Business showed me that you got to be cruel to be kind. At the end of the day, nobody is nobody's customer. That's one thing I've learned about this business, is nobody's nobody's customer. Someone would steal you if they could. And if you had a good contact, trust me, these other people are trying to get in there over you as well. So it taught me that as well, which is protect your customers and just make sure you can be there for them. There's sometimes when you can't, obviously, and what are you going to do when you can't? I've witnessed other people do it, which is relying on someone who you know is the right fit for your customer, and you can send them there just to keep them at bay. Yeah, no problem, I'm away at the moment, but what I'll do is I'll get one of my colleagues to come there and they'll be able to sort it out and at least make the situation safe, which that's what most of us do when we go out on a call out. You know, you don't fix the problem unless you need to, or it's something what is a critical environment. Most homes are never critical environments, just to put it out there now. So where's that brought me to today? That's brought me to being transparent about starting a business, telling people that you don't need everything to start. You need the basics, you need the good understanding, and you need the will to learn. You know, I've learned more on the business side now since the last 10 years than I've learned on physically doing the job. I know how to physically do the job. Now we want to make sure we dot the I's and cross the T's, which is making sure that we've got a profile, making sure that we've got a presence, making sure that we've got reviews, making sure that if a customer does contact us, we can give them what they want straight away or attend to them straight away, which definitely is a game changer. I think if I knew some of the things I knew before now, game would be different. But I do understand that having a business which has lasted the test of time. So I've had this plumbing business for the best part of 8, probably nearly 9 years now. I have to check. It might even be 10 years, but I have to check. But most plumbing businesses and businesses in general, they fail within the first year. And they fail because there's none of that in place. People don't take into... People do not take the fact that you need a float to start a plumbing business today. They don't. Could I have done what I told you what I'd done today? No, not really. I feel it would have been a lot harder. There's a lot more competition within starting a plumbing company compared to someone who's already got an established one or a business which is recognised by the public. And I think that's always something which nobody speaks about. Nobody speaks about how really difficult it was to start and how and what the problems what they were when they first started. My problem was finding customers. My problem was I never had no advice, or I didn't know how to start a business or even run a business online. So when I first started, there's something called an e-commerce website. That means when people are buying stuff from you. So I wasn't needing an e-commerce website. I was just needing a one-page website where people could send a message. But I had an e-commerce website. I wasn't selling anything in it, but these are the things I didn't know. Just like when I first started my YouTube channel as well, it's another thing separate, but first started my YouTube channel, I got monetized. Thank you all for watching my content. Appreciate you all. If you stuck around this far, you definitely should subscribe, because this is the real talk with me. And I tell you the real stuff about when I started a business. I know a lot of people like to jazz up their business and tell people, oh, I've done this and I've done that. I've done loads of jobs. Nobody wants to hear about that. Let me tell you about the struggle, because the struggle is real. The struggle is the stuff what people go through today. The reality is that if you start off today without a mentor, without not understanding business, without not even... I haven't even spoke to you lot about understanding profit. Because profit is most important in any company. I find that a lot of plumbers do things, I told you, they do things for the sake of just trying to be busy. You know, back in the day, yeah, if you look like you was busy, yeah, more people would come to you. See, today, yeah, that's not the case. You need to have the right type of jobs. The right type of jobs will allow you to grow your business and scale. The wrong type of jobs will keep you busy, and you will be in a job and you would say, I shouldn't have took this one. I took enough jobs where I realised I shouldn't have took this job because it's too much work for me, or it's just something which is far out of my remit. Someone's got a... Let me try and think of an example. Personally, I haven't actually walked away from any jobs and said that I can't take them on. There's just been some which, for the job to be done right, we need to spend more time on it, and it might not be the greatest. So when I first started, I started doing a few bathrooms as well. I don't really do bathrooms at all now. But I've done a bathroom in South London. And I realised having the structure of me, who's the plumber, and I had someone else who's an electrician, but he was quite handy at a few things. So this guy was able to do tiling and stuff, yeah? We tiled 6 tiles up. I can't remember how big the tiles were, but it was nice bathroom. Nice. Ripped it out, put in a new bath, tiled it, sealed it. But it was so much work. And I'm quite sure I split even with that person. So we charged that person £1,400, so it was £700 each. £700 for, I think it was about 3 days work. When I first started, it was all just money in the kitty. Because I have a job at this point anyway. So it's extra money, which I can now reinvest within my company. And I think shortly after that is when I first started to get the Mr. London Plumber tees. And when I got my tees, that's when I started to think, we're getting somewhere now. We are getting somewhere. Now, I'm not showing up just in a Nike t-shirt. I'm showing up in a Mr. London Plumber t-shirt. So now people can see the logo, go online, type in Mr. London Plumber in Google, and they see loads of things pop up. And I felt so proud of myself. But I'd come from an era of Mike Jones. You know Mike Jones, the rapper, who used to put his number on his back. And I thought, I need to start doing that. Someone actually told me to put my Instagram on the back of my t-shirt. But the areas which I was going into were affluent areas. And those people don't follow Instagram. They don't follow social media and stuff like that. They've got a problem, they need it done. You get it done. You now work your way into their phone contact for you to be able to be a person of who they contact straight away when they have a problem. So that was more on working on the physical relationship when you're with people. Because we can all say things which put people off. You know, oh, that ain't going to be cheap. I don't know if I can do that. Ooh, that's a bit of a difficult job. I'll give it a go. Let me have a look at it. Give it a go. Let me get some eyes on it. Break down what I need and then get back to you. It's the same things what I'm saying, but in a different way. And I had to learn that myself, because those will win or lose you jobs. And I just, there's something I had to get. And you know, like, you don't get all of these things at the beginning. You know, anyone's lying to you if they tell you that they were flying from the beginning. Chatting shit. Unless you was following your dad everywhere and your dad was an A1 plumber. But again, I think some people don't realise the heritage of a lot of plumbing companies, which is people buy plumbing companies, right? That's one thing, they're for sale. And there are some people, some bigger plumbing companies, who bought the books off of other people. And I'm talking about that one that begins with P and ends with P. They done exactly that. And you got to understand, even the person that ever ran that company, I don't want to talk about people, but I just want you guys to understand this. The person who actually started that plumbing company, yeah, they're not a plumber, but they invest a lot of money into plumbing. That's why there was always on the face, the second page of you opening the MVQ book. Do you get it? Like, it's all to do with money, innit? And once I started to realise that, it led me down the route of even trying to educate my people who was following my pages. And when I say educate them, I mean, by showing my skill level, I am now narrating most of the jobs what I'm doing, just so people can understand my skill level. And when you're able to narrate what you do, it's a skill, because everybody can't do it. Everybody cannot explain down to a T the reason why you do something. So I started to do that. And once I started to do that, people would call me and be like, hello, I'm looking for a plumber. Is this Mr. London Plumber? Yeah, mate, it's me. And they'll be like, oh, I know it's you from your voice because I watch your videos. The first 10 or 15 people that started, I was a bit freaked out. What do you mean you're watching my video, mate? And that was a little bit of the arrogant side of me, which I have to let go, because this is just business, you know. And once I started to let that go, I started to say to myself, all right, cool, I get it. I'm onto something now. They're watching my videos. They're understanding what I do. So now I'm building a rapport with them through the internet. So it's now working for me, because this is all organic. This is not, I'm not going out and paying for any leads. At no point Do I join My Builder, Trekker Trader, anything like that? I'm just trying to do it through my phone number, which I've got, my content, and my reviews. It's the only thing I've got. I'm not at any point. I'm not actually pushing more money into it. I've never ever paid for an advert online. I've been lucky to be able to feature in plumbing adverts. So I thought that always gave me a kind of an edge, because I'm a real life plumber doing real jobs, and obviously being featured in industry things as well. So that gave me an edge on a lot of people, because I'm the person on the content. I'm the person doing the videos. I'm actually the person who turns up to do the job. They're like, bloody hell, you're everywhere. Overworking myself. That was another thing which I started to do in my business. You overwork yourself, you burn yourself out. Simple. That's why you've got to pick your jobs very carefully. Picking my jobs carefully and making sure that I'm not turning up to every single job for 50 quid, 80 quid. I'm not driving an hour for an £80. With the exception, I used to do it for a couple of people. I remember these 2 customers which I have from Croydon. I live nowhere near Croydon. But these ladies were so nice over the phone. They've watched one of my videos before. They're like, please come out and help us. We've got a water leak in our house. We don't know where it is. And that job, even though I done it on the basis of like a friends rate, which is another red flag as well, which you should never do as a business. Because I told you at this point, I'm operating like a business. But I've got a heart. I'm not an arsehole. I'm not a person that looks at another woman who's in need, no matter if she's white, black, Asian, whatever, and says, I'm going to run it up on her. I'm going to run up her bill. I'm not like that. I'm not. And I can honestly say that I'm not, so I do the fair job. I don't make that much money. It is a little bit stressful, but I get them out of a sticky situation. Do I know that those people are thankful? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. If I ever met them today, would they buy me a coffee? Most probably. They were lovely people. But being stressed out by Thames Water by telling them that, oh, you're using, I don't know, fucking 100 litres of water a day, or whatever they said they were using. Cool. It was only a constant running toilet upstairs. But again, if you tell the wrong people the wrong things, they don't know what to think. Because they're not plumbers. They're thinking they got a leak underneath their ass. They haven't. Simple fix can be fixed. And that was something which, they're things which I'm very proud of, which I do. Which I don't speak about, because it's not like I want people to think, oh, you're a great person because you done this person a favour. No, I wanted to do them that. You might not want to do them that. I've went to plumbing shows. I used to go to a lot of plumbing shows. I used to get a lot of fittings, siphons, toilets, parts, this, that. And the tight Scrooge plumber, what he's going to do is going to get them parts, and then he's going to bill people for them parts. The type of plumber I am. I'm going to get them parts, and if I see someone, like I had an old lady before, she needed a siphon changed. I tell her, look, it's £50 for the hour. I'll be able to do it in the hour. I'll have to go and get the siphon. Siphon's like £27, £20. Oh, okay, so I'll give you £80. When she gives me £80, I give her the £40 back. Don't worry about it, man. That's fine. Are you sure? Definitely. And these are all people, and these are all women. I always do it to women. I don't really do it to men. Men can sort themselves out. But women, if I had the materials for free, I just want my labour. And it's my way of doing a good gesture for people. Because I would like to think maybe when I get older, if I needed something and I'm not able to do it myself, someone would be able to do me that as well. And don't get me wrong, all of those women are very kind people. I can tell because as a plumber, I go into so many people's homes. I get that they want you in and out. I get that they don't know what they're talking about. They've been stressed out by having this problem looming over their head, which you don't know about. And at points they've heard that plumbers cost an arm and a leg. Just not trying to be that type of person. I see someone drop a comment about the person I was talking about. Sorry, I had to be quiet there. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Give me a second, yeah? So my thing is just that having this business in general, yeah, we learn off of so many different people, right? And some people have got good business models when it comes to starting a business, and others who start a business from the ground up either learn their skills off of other people or pick up stuff on their way. And sometimes when you pick up stuff on your way, you pick up bad habits, you pick up not good practices for business, you pick up favoritism as well, and at points you can pick up this staying in your bubble business, which isn't always the best for business. You know, sometimes you must branch out on your business. You must try different things. Like I tried something which was called virtual consultations. So basically, I would have my iPad. It would cost people £90 to £150 to call out a plumber. I would do it virtually. From my phone, I would tell them what the problem is, how they could, if they needed someone to come out. If you need someone to come out, cool, we can schedule in a booking. If I have a look at it and I tell you that, well, you could do this yourself, it's only £25. You know, I wanted to cut the market with different techniques, which I wasn't seeing anybody else doing. You know, because my thing, even with my own business, is not to follow everybody else's. Because why do I care about what anybody else is doing? Me personally, I don't. Like, I get on with my own life. I sleep well. I wake up in the morning and I feel blessed that I'm given a chance to be able to start something like what I'm doing. Because there's not many people that put themselves through it and even be transparent enough to tell people the truth. And the truth is laid out in this video. I've been wanting to say this for a while because even myself, I tell people, go and buy a van, go and do this, build yourself up before. But I never done any of that shit. But I came up in a different time. I came up in a different time where that wasn't necessary. I've worked with people with vans and who are self-employed tradespeople, but they are never able to scale themselves on any sort because it's not possible for them. Not enough money in it. Do you get it? If there's enough money in it, they try it. Sorry about that. I don't know why someone's calling me on a Sunday as well. Yeah, but like I said, people, I learned lessons. And when I learned lessons, yeah, I always try and help, you know. So that's the whole point of me making this video, is that there's going to be someone else who's out there like me, who didn't give it a try, who possibly just stuck in work and something's happened to them at some point. You know, COVID happened to all of us. Recession happened to all of us, where there was no work. So what do? You've now got to try and do something with your own business. Do you get it? But you've always got to stay focused, because anytime I had told people about my plans before, yeah, they always told me, oh, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do it. Like, it's going to be hard. So what I'm saying, my message is, focus, have a plan, allow your plan to scale, and look at the market, because the market at the moment right now for plumbers in London, I only speak about London, is saturated the fuck out. It's saturated. There's so many people in it. So many people that do odds and sods, little bits, handyman, all of that. All of the little small jobs, they're now taken off by a lot of those people who are willing to charge 60, 50, you know, like prices which most companies can't compete with. The freelance working, I mean, most of the people, if the job is for £100, they want, it's like a 60-40 split. You know, for me, last time I checked, I was doing the job, innit? But I guess when people haven't got much avenues to be able to get work through, you turn to a lot of these things. And in my eyes, sometimes it can be a downward spiral. And if you do work for a company, you don't plan on being there forever. Start thinking, get your thinking hat on, and start structuring how you can be your own boss or your own person who does that. And you know, it won't come overnight. It won't come with no stress. It won't come with you not being able to sleep at night or thinking about, oh, I wish I had a job, or I wish I got these jobs. I've wished so many times that I was busy. I wish so many times that it was more stable. But over the years, it's not been stable. And that's why I be nothing but transparent with telling you guys that most of my time that I've had Mr. London, I've had a full-time job, off and on. So yeah, people, make sure you like, share and subscribe. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the story, man. I'd like to hear anybody else's story in the comment section and how they feel about it. I expected someone was going to say when I said about the other company, but they said it in the chat, but I'm going to speak to that person in a minute. Anyway, it's Sunday. Enjoy, subscribe, like and share. Let's get it.